there's just no doubt about it. The AI bubble is getting ready to pop. And also, the economy is just taking big hits. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to try to put you on top. And there's no question to it. There is a particular way that you could end up on top before the bubble pops. I'm your host, Sean, the host of Note to Self, showcasing you just exactly how I intend on getting to the top before the bubble pops. And I'm hoping that you have that same mindset. We're going to be talking about Nintendo, the Pokemon company, and just exactly what it is that they're doing that tells us what we should be doing. If you are a returning subscriber, I thank you for hitting the like button. And if you are new, I thank you for subscribing. I'm hoping to be of assistance to you. What you see going through the feed right now is just some window dressing as to the craziness that is the Note to Self feed. We're currently on 66 plus subscribers and counting, and we're waiting to grow bigger, better, and bolder to do more valued things to make you more of a valued customer. We also have a couple of applications underway, and those applications can actually be found in our course. But again, let's get into discussing what lets us know that the economy as a whole needs some help, and we can look no further than the game industry. We have Nintendo notoriously patenting summoning characters and making them battle as they want to patent that. They want to say that they were the ones who created it, and if it were not for them, others would not have created it. And we all know that is a lie. That is such a lie. But in September 2025, Nintendo was granted the patent for the gaming mechanic of summoning a sub character. This is being read from MSN.com, their news and technology sector. So if you want to follow along, you can. Remember that you can also use the top pinned comment and the description section if it is available to grab our course all about AI application development. And more specifically, at the end of today's video, we're actually going to attempt to stick it to the man using AI to develop a special kind of video game as fast as we possibly can. Because here's the thing, we can only fight as corporations. Fighting as individuals is not going to work. We're going to have to start to develop and start to build whole entities that can really assist us in getting just exactly what we want and what we deserve as individuals. So after they submitted this patent, we all know it was controversial, right? While Pokemon is clearly the driving force behind the patent, the one of the more obvious examples of summoning creatures for battle, many other landmark series, such as Final Fantasy, created by Square Enix, and Persona, I can't remember who created that, utilize similar mechanics, right? So that patent risks infringing upon, well, no, the Pokemon patent makes it seem as though Final Fantasy and Persona can be infringing upon those things as results, right? However, the patent was revoked in an extremely rare re-examination by the United States Trademark Office Director, John A. Squire. Okay, so acting like the brave knight he was, he said, this looks to be invalid. All right. His decision, we all appreciate, but that doesn't change the fact that Nintendo is going to continue to encroach upon gamers and developers, right, as a whole. If they say that the patent is valid, if the trademark makes it valid, then in order for other companies to actually utilize the gameplay mechanic, Nintendo may have to somehow license the gameplay mechanic, which doesn't make sense. Because although, that's like I was talking to a friend, I'm saying that's like you take and patent the use of aluminum cans. So now only your beverage can be housed in aluminum cans, and all other beverages must be housed in bottles or held in bottles or cups or something. Or like this doesn't make sense. And just because you were the first to use an aluminum can, this just doesn't add up, guys. This just does not add up. Okay. So these other games that he decided to look upon for as examples, I don't really want to read their names incorrectly. But again, you could follow the article from MSN. I'll link it as in the description so you can read along. It says Nintendo can repeal the patent. However, while Nintendo's latest patent for summoning sub-characters into battle has been revoked, this rejection is not final and can be appealed to the Federal Circuit if it disagrees. The Japanese console giant has 2 months to respond, though this grace period can be extended upon request and does not require a reason. So how much longer can they extend that? I don't know. Is it fair? Heck no. Okay. So it says if Nintendo were only to get one claim reappealed, it could use the patent to sue infringers. Do you hear this? Do you hear this craziness? Now, I see this M dash, meaning I definitely do believe this article was created by AI, but it is what it is. Though it's unlikely to take aim at legacy series like aforementioned Final Fantasy and Persona, or games like Dark Souls, Digimon, right? Instead, it is likely to be used as further fuel against Pokemon copycats, or what they consider Pokemon copycats like Power World. Okay. In a bid to salvage as many of these claims as possible, Nintendo may highlight that no games were used as evidence in the reappeal and that developers are unlikely to merge these references. Though the USPTO has 2 alternative theories for each of the 26 claims, reducing the risk of the patent being appealed. I mean, we have tons. Ask the gamers. Stop asking people who don't play games. Ask the gamers. Find gamers to give you the list. Call up a gamer. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay a gamer a lot of money. But you could just pay him with one of the newest video games, or you could pay him with a console. Or we need you guys to stop playing like you don't have the funds to properly reward someone who's clearly going to give you a list. But also now we have AI that can give you the list of information on just exactly, just exactly what games possess summoning mechanics of a secondary character. Okay, there's too many of them for, again, once again, these companies to be, or these politicians to pretend as though they don't know. Now, it used to be a time where you could say you don't know, but with the assistance of AI, you now can know. You now can know. So for them to be making it seem as though you can't know, this is just not adding up, and I'm not appreciating it at all. So now that we've gotten that article underway, again, we're talking about the bubble, potential bubble, and we're talking about how you can get on top of that bubble. There's a couple of industries that you can utilize AI in order to facilitate, create, and maintain an AI supported workflow that most importantly makes you money. Okay. And the number one industry is going to be games, right? We currently know that Roblox is making big bucks right now. Okay. A couple of people are talking about it online. Even though their CEO had to, or their initial CEO had to resign for reasons We can't escape the fact that there's money in that. So to continuously miss out on that when money is what you need doesn't make sense. Now, if if this is a moral grandstanding that you want to do, by all means continue to do that. However, at the end of the day, you need money, okay? And you need money now. Nobody is saying that you have to do certain things in perpetuity, but assist yourself in preparing yourself for a better lifestyle. You take and you pivot into Roblox to make video games, and then you take what money you have from said video game and either make more video games in other avenues or on other platforms, or continue to make money there until you have enough to be able to place it into the stock market and live off of dividends or something like that. Okay. Now, right now, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to show you the capabilities of my course. We're going to show you the capabilities of AI by creating our very own Pokemon-like clone, okay? And you'll be able to use this as the base for developing your own Pokemon-like game. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to DeepSeek. It's been a while since I've used my DeepSeek. So we're going to go to DeepSeek. We're going to go to its deep thinking capabilities. Okay. We're going to make it bigger, bolder, and more uncut. We saw my feed. It's horrible. Okay. But nonetheless, we're going to then we're going to construct, some kind of prompt that will allow us to be able to get DeepSeek working properly. So I'm actually going to take the time to ask ChatGPT. I mean, not ask ChatGPT, ask Gemini. So we got both of them running in the browser, right? And I'm going to actually go to I have this speech to text recognition because I don't like typing. It takes too long, okay? And what I'm going to say is I'm going to say something like, so I want to use DeepSeek to create a base version of a potential Pokemon-like video game. Okay. And so that means that the game loop needs to persist of traversing land, right, or different areas, encountering differing creatures, battling the differing creatures, and capturing the different creatures. Okay. What I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to traverse the internet to retrieve documentation of how a Pokemon game is played when it comes to the game as a whole, and get detailed information on the order of operations within a Pokemon game at its most basic fundamental levels. I'm also going to need you to investigate UI elements, so the way that it looks, in order to better create a potential clone that will be modified in the future. All right. With that also being said, though, I know that my current prompt is somewhat inefficient. So what I want you first to do is construct a prompt that will better suit the needs of what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to create. The ultimate goal is to have a base version working with web DOM, as well as it being made in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For slightly better assistance, check GitHub and Reddit for potential repositories of game engines that behave like the Pokemon engine. I am aware of a platform known as Pokemon Rogue that allows you to play Pokemon in a slightly different format. But I am aware that there potentially can also be engines that I could use to start off from instead of starting from scratch although I am comfortable with it. But with that being said, can you now construct a prompt that has all of the characteristics or information, but maybe in a more efficient manner than what I have right here? So now I copy that. Okay, and I'm showcasing to you, this is literally how I do a lot of my constructing of applications in my course. And what's ultimately going to have, like, this is my first time doing it. I've never done it before. I'm just letting you see my process and letting you see what typically happens. I forgot to make it like functional on like an Android or a smartphone, like so touchscreen compatible, not just with buttons and things of that nature. So input listener, W and arrow. So it has those for movements. So what I'm going to say is I want you to also rewrite this because I forgot to mention that I want it to also be compatible with touchscreens. So meaning if somebody was to view the website from their phone and be looking even through a browser, they could still use touch controls when possible. Um, so copy that, paste it here. All right. So touch specific order of operations, joystick, D-pad. Instead, event listener, you will preventing this part behavior. Mobile browser, love to zoom and scroll. When you touch them to make game feel native, you must use etc. and you control elements to stop the page. The UI interaction. Okay, cool. So now here's what I'm going to say last. Okay, I don't feel like this is an entire prompt that's going to help another AI construct what it is that I asked for. So can you better make this prompt in a way that the AI is going to have a series of tasks that it must perform to create each individual element, or like I'm going to compile it all into one, or you're going to have it compiled all into one, but it has to know that it should be doing certain things before other things in a much more linear fashion. Okay, so I'm gonna try that because I wasn't comfortable with what Gemini was giving me. And now that it knows about DeepSeek, it the master architect prompt, copy and paste everything below into your DeepSeek. So it says you are lead game developer, software, blah blah blah. Task 1, core engine responsible. Task 2. All right, so first I'm gonna give this to DeepSeek, but my issue is that it's not going to have contextual information like on what it looks like and things of that nature, so it might falter. So I'm going to close that and bring that up here. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to go back up though. Oh, it says take this. It says that makes a perfect sense. AI complex. If you want whole, what must be fully responsive. So let me see if I can find UR. So Control F. I'm going to say UR. Yeah. So I'm going to delete this whole top half here. Okay. All right. So now can I get, there we go. Okay. So I have all this. All right. And now I'm going to hit enter or play or start, whatever you want to call that. And then I'm going to allow it to use the deep thinking model and the search model if it needs to. It's going to take all the tasks and do them individually. I should have specified that I wanted it compiled in the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, well, HTML format. Although it says that what it may do, I'm not sure if it's actually going to do it. So let's see. And this is what it's coming up with by itself, with just that one prompt from Gemini. Okay, I didn't know that its thinking can be this long, but only time will tell. Now, while it's doing its thing, let's discuss further. If we can plug or if we can plague the market with more Pokemon-oriented games, saturate the market with more Pokemon-like games, then we can file against, or we can battle against the Pokemon company, Nintendo, as a whole. Okay, that's really the ultimate thing that we want to do, because Pokemon, we just don't like the evil of it all, to be frank, right? So if there's so many people, so many things cropping up, so many games cropping up, then it would be too many people to go and battle and go up against for Pokemon. Though they have the millions and billions of dollars, it will be too many people to go up against. Too many games to go up against. And not only that, right? But then people will really see who Pokemon Company really cares about, right? What they really care about, who they really care about. Because at the end of the day, the people who are making these games, like the creators of Power World, are people who obviously gave Pokemon their money. You played the game because you gave them your money to play the game. So obviously they cared about the game enough to the point where they said, man, I want to make a more adult-oriented Pokemon-like game. Everyone has always wondered why you don't get whole Pokemon people or whole Pokemon series where, there's certain kinds of weaponry being used, where there's certain kinds of language being used. There's certain kinds of characters. Like, what happens to the adults in the series, right? What happens to the kids? Do they always get older, right? Like, yeah, they get older, but I mean, like, in the sense of, do they stop using Pokemon once they get older, right? What about the regular workers? What happens to the regular workers? What happens to the gameplay mechanics of taming, right? Taking care of the actual Pokemon, not just battling. What happens to all these things? Okay, so now I'm copying what we have here. Oh wait, I'm copying this. But check this out. Hold on. You can hit run. And okay. Whoa, and it's an encounter. Wild Sprout appeared. You got Flareon. And you got Wild Sprout. And you got Attack. Oh, okay. You would need a picture. You would need pictures and animations in here. So this would have to be enlarged. Okay. And you attack it again. Oh, it's done. It says, oh, I got to hit continue. And the Wild Sprout hit me. Okay, cool. Okay. Wild Sprout hit. And look, this is the very rudimentary version of the game, right? Very rudimentary, okay? Meaning simplified. So it's showing you what it naturally is, which is just text and numbers on the screen. Okay, so hit attack. Oh, I gotta hit continue, and then attack. Okay, I did 8 damage. So I got 1 attack. It says 8 damage. I'm wondering if it's going to always do 8 damage, or if it's randomizing the damage. Let's find out. So it did 5 damage to me. I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue. Okay, I hit continue. That should change. Hit attack. I did 7 damage. Continue. Always does 5 damage. I did 7 damage. 6 damage. 7 damage. 8 damage. All right, I'm going to win. I'm going to win because I know I'm doing way more damage. So I feel like the AI knew. It says wild sprite fainted, you win. Boom, and we in. Oh, okay. Oh, dang. Okay, it's got the sprouts coming fast. We get new health every time. That's interesting. So sure enough, look, you have base code to work with. Base code to work with right here, right now. Okay, I could run, continue, run. And I got out of there. Okay, moving. Oh, okay, I see what happened. So this is the whole field, right? And over here is just free area to walk around in. But if you step, the darker green is the tall grass. Right? Darker green is the tall grass. Right? No? Yes, it is. Okay, so attack, hit 6, 4, 6, 4, 7. Vine whip with the wild sprite. Okay, so this also doesn't have the elemental area, elemental things in there. It doesn't have all that. But it has the basic building blocks for um it has the basic building blocks for how you want everything to be in your game, literally. And so now you can modify this. I'm gonna give you guys this code. Modify this. Take it and use it. Take it and use it. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't see about the capturing mechanic. Capture. It says, oh no, Wild Sprite broke free. Or Wild Sprout broke free. Come on. Wild Sprite broke free. Wild Sprout broke free. Wild Sprout broke free. Come on. Okay. So wait, let's see. Let's see if I have to damage it first in order to get to capture it. That will be very interesting, unless it doesn't have like a capture rate yet. Let's see. Hold on. It still broke free, and because I didn't do enough damage. Oh! See, I'm getting hype. I'm getting hype because I wasn't expecting it to actually work. So I captured it. Okay, if I hit continue. Oh no. Let me run. Let me run. I wanted to see if I can pull out. So it said to be captured, but it did not give us a way to summon. It didn't give us a way to summon. We also don't have like a start button. I don't even know what our A and B is supposed to be for, but this is a great start. This is a great start. This is something to modify. And do you see how fast? Do you see how easy that was? Do you see that? So you can now take and make your own. Okay? I'm giving this to you. Modify it accordingly. I'm slightly upset because it didn't give me it didn't go to like a GitHub repository and things of that nature. But you could take it upon yourself to do that. And if you look within the code, the script is made in JavaScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You can run it in DeepSeek. This is another reason why I like using DeepSeek. But you could also run this in one compiler. You can also run this in Web3 schools, right? You go to web. Let me go to Web3 schools. So you could run that in Web3 schools. You head to the HTML section. You go and you try out for yourself. You come in here, select all, you paste, you run. And the same thing is now here on your screen. Same concept. It's just this simple, just this easy. So making video games is definitely possible with the AI. Now you go in and you begin to refine. Again, within my course, I tell you, do not, you saw all that. It took a nice little while for it to construct this code. Do not have it manipulate all of the code simultaneously. This base model of information that it already has is pretty good, top notch. Okay. It having to compile all this code over and over again, there's going to be minor iterations, minor differences between the two code bases, minor differences between the way that both codes are going to function. So the issues that you have in one code will spark new issues, different issues in another code, because it will not necessarily be using this initial code as its reference. It will just be using what you said, what information you said. And its context window is but so big. So it may not be able to even house all of this code within this context window, thus what's the word? Limiting how much it's actually going to work with, and then it's going to create or pretend about the rest. Okay, so you check all of the functionality of what's going on here, and you like I said, I've captured, but now I can't throw out that creature. So you have to add a way to throw out a creature. You have to have a way to capture the creature, which you already have, but you have to have a way to save the creature in somewhat of an inventory. You're going to need menu UI and stuff like that. So what I would suggest is, at least with the way that this looks right now, or with the way that you want things to look, I would suggest you write down all of the changes that you want to make. Write down all of the changes that you want to make and want to manipulate. Okay. Write down the UI elements that you know, that you believe, that you think you need. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to look through the code and see where you could personally potentially manipulate it yourself. Okay. And then what you want to do is you either manipulate it yourself, or you take and highlight the segment of code that you want to adjust. And then you go into DeepSeek once more with that segment of code and copy and paste it in, followed by what are the amendments you want to do to the code. Okay? It's just that simple. It's just that easy. But if you need more assistance, within my course, I detail all this and then some. But you see how fast it is. It only gets more difficult with more iterations and being specific as to what you want. But you already can have a base version in seconds. In seconds. So please grab the course, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.